you guys have in store for us today? Some of you might have experienced it.
The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Hey there, welcome to another exciting episode in Top 7 Jams. It's your girl Pearl.
I just took a shot of whiskey, it's sun in energy. I tell myself, say I know, go cry, but I cry. We dance like Luala.
Housing deficits has continued to pose challenges in the country, as it is estimated to be around 28 million units. The issue of house deficit is also a major concern, with implications for the economy as well as the well-being of most population across states in Nigeria. However, rapid urbanization, population growth, and limited affordable housing options are some of the main factors that contribute immensely to the issue of housing deficit, which report has it that Edo State is not exempted. Addressing the problem is believed to require a multi-pronged approach, which include government support, private sector investment, and innovation solutions to make housing not just available but also affordable. I am Ifoma Okafor. I welcome you this morning on this Midweek Connect program this week. It's good to be back on the program. Now, before we move on, let's go to our segment tidbit this morning. Improved living facilities, qualified teachers, good infrastructure, conducive learning atmosphere, and secure school environments are the entitlements of every Edo child, and all of these the state government will make available. Governor Monday Okpewolo made the declaration during the inspection of ongoing renovation work of some schools in Edo Central, which were hitherto in bad shape, when he visited the facilities in January 2025.
After this, we are going to employ teachers to say that we bring the quality of education back to Edo State. I want to see a state where children will go to government school, pay less fees, and get quality education.
From the rising tides threatening coastal communities to the urgent need for global energy transition, climate change is no distant crisis. It is a present reality. As the world marks International Mother Earth Day, there is a call to action to shift to a more sustainable economy that works for both people and the planet more than ever, and promotes harmony with nature and the earth.
Every gift of nature, every resource around us has something to be grabbed, has something to be exploited, has something to be marketed.
If our planet is going to be our power, we have to make our planet happy with us. Because when our planet is happy with us, we'll be happy with our planet.
We should be mindful of the activities we as human beings undertake or involve ourselves in respect of the nature.
Not less than 1,500 people living with disabilities across Edo State have benefited from the Sir David Osunde Foundation. The gesture is part of activities to mark the 33rd anniversary of the foundation.
people in this country. They are not thinking of the poor and those who are in need. So Sunday is not the richest Nigerian, no, but he's doing very much.
I'm very happy, Chef. I'm happy for this for Sunday. What do you do for us? We are happy. Well, very, very good. Thank you, thank you.
I'm very excited because after a long time, the program has been held by Sir David Osude Foundation. So he just came on his mind to actually come to do it again. That means still put her at heart.
We need to respond to Christ's message, to care for the marginalized, to care for the least in our society. It is through this context and this thinking that we have become involved with this project. So we hope that in seven more years we'll continue to grow, to represent more parts of Nigeria.
In a move geared towards addressing challenges in Edo State Governor Monday Okpewolo has summoned a security meeting in Iyamo Esako West local government area with prominent political, religious and traditional leaders, head of security agencies in the state and other key stakeholders to brainstorm on how to address the peculiar security challenges in Edo North.
We came here for a peaceful discussion regarding security. All our leaders were present and we had a very useful discussion, and I believe we watch it from here. So things will be perfect in our land.
The people have expressed their confidence in the governor. They have affirmed their loyalty, and they have affirmed their commitment to work together with the security agencies so that after my land will be safe.
With traditional rulers, we are resolved to also work with them to ensure that our people are safe, and security by the grace of God will return to our people.
Edo State Governor Senator Monday Okpewolo has ordered the immediate suspension of Dr. George Oshiakwe Egabo, the Okangwe of Wano Kingdom, Agenegbode Esako, local government area of Edo State, over recent cases of incessant kidnapping and killings in his domain. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary, Fred Itua, indicates that the Secretary to the Traditional Ruler, Chief Peter Omoegbenhi, has since been arrested by the relevant authorities following a recent incident that led to the death of a palace chief, late John Ihamate. The suspension of the traditional ruler is indefinite, the statement adds. At this juncture, we are going on break. When we come back, you join us to brainstorm on house deficits in Edo State. The guest is also already in the studio, so stay tuned.
Otherwise known as Waka.
This is Health Plus. Today, searchlight on universal healthcare. What does it mean?
Diphtheria is a vaccine-preventable disease. It is highly fatal.
It's good to sing praise unto our God, for it is pleasant and praise is comely.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode on Youth Arena. I can't wait to hear what you guys have in store for us today. Some of you might have experienced it.
The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Hey there, welcome to another exciting episode in Top 7 Jams. It's your girl Pearl.
I just took a shot of whiskey, it's a sunny nature. I tell myself, say I know, go cry, but I cry. We dance like
Do you you live in Aduawa and environs, or you need a conducive and open field in Aduawa for your wedding receptions, birthday parties, annual ceremonies, family or corporate events in a serene and conducive environment that is close to nature, then look no further. NTA Benin Aduawa is a place for you. NTA Benin Aduawa has a large field for all your events and ceremonies. Also, at NTA Corporate Headquarters TV Road, we have a state-of-the-art fully air-conditioned ultra-modern hall for all kinds of indoor events with a standby generating set, therefore ensuring uninterrupted power supply. We also have NTA Pavilion for all outdoor events at the same venue. Guess what? Our prices are affordable, locations are easily accessible, venues conducive and highly secured. Our outside broadcast van is available 24 hours and can broadcast your events live. And above all, you can air your events on our award-winning program like Events and Style. And any booking on the field or hall gets a bonus of free news coverage. Wow! What are you waiting for? Grab this opportunity and have your celebration in a grand style. For enquiries and bookings, please call NTA Benin, the award-winning.
NTA Benin, reaching you from the ancient city of bronze, the cradle of black civilization.
Good to know that you're still there with us on this midweek edition, and we are discussing housing deficit this morning, the issue of housing in Nigeria, and we're bringing it down to Edo State. Is an issue that is perennial, is everywhere, and we already have a guest in the studio. Is our regular, is a barrister, Greg. Yeah, he's a legal practitioner, but he's very versatile when it comes to the issue of housing. So he's the one that is going to pilot all our discussions on the issue of housing, some challenges that people are going through when it comes to housing. And good morning,
good morning, Ify, and good morning, viewers.
Good to see you. You're always on this program. Thank you for obliging us each time we call you. By the way, you're looking so cute as always.
Thank you. It's always an honor.
So how did you see that yesterday rain? That started from Aduawa yesterday. It started around 2 p.m. till 10 p.m. in Jerry. It was still raining. So how did you see it?
It was still around Ramad Park.
Okay.
Because there is very serious erosion around Ramad Park, particularly the construction zone.
Okay.
We do believe that it will be taken care of before it blows into a traffic logjam that will lock down this part of the city.
Okay. And it also helps somebody like me to sleep peacefully last night without feeling so hot. Welcome so much. Welcome this morning. So let's play a report by Mebe Uriaro to usher in our discussion this morning on housing deficit.
Housing is a fundamental human need, and its importance extends beyond providing shelter, but also protects physical and emotional health, as well as its numerous economic benefits. Experts say Nigeria has a significant housing deficit of 17 million to over 20 million units, and Edo State contributes significantly to this due to rapid urbanization and population growth. The Edo State government has taken some steps to address this, such as constructing 68 housing units under the National Housing Program and partnering with private developers to deliver 454 housing units across Uhunwode, Epoma, and Benin City. Midweek Connect this week will focus on the fundamental problem of housing deficit and discuss solutions that experts suggest, such as the introduction of affordable mortgage options and social housing for low-income earners and construction of low-cost housing through public-private partnerships across all senatorial districts of the state.
Thank you so much, Mabel, for that beautiful background. So, Barrister, some of the issues raised from this background that has to do with that 17 million to over 20 million units, and Edo State contributes significantly to this due to rapid urbanization and the population growth. So, what's your take on that from the background?
First of all, we remember that housing is a basic need of life. I mean, it's not a luxury. Where you live, what you eat, what you put on, those things are very basic in life. Even Jesus Christ himself, when he preached to the first set of converts, the first question they asked him, where dwellest thou? Where do you live?
Where do you live?
So he now said, okay, come and see. So where we live is very important and it's a basic necessity. That is why, like the report said, there should be very conscious, deliberate effort to actually provide, housing for people, respectable housing, affordable housing, not just houses. When we are talking of a house, now you should be talking of a house with running water. You should be talking of a house that will not be submerged by erosion, and is really built well. And then you should be talking of a house that is also affordable, because if we have available houses that are not affordable, like you see, you go around, there are a lot of property lie idle, and some of them are even dilapidating, because of the high rents that is attached to them, and then you see people unable to afford them. You see, we should make very conscious and deliberate effort. Let me tell you one of the things that has actually helped Edo State. There's no gainsaying that fact. Many of our children that traveled abroad, one of the first things they always do, which I find very commendable, is the people they left behind, their parents, providing a roof over their head, giving them the opportunity to live, and then to live in their own house. They always make that a priority, and that is very commendable. And we should really appreciate them for that. Because if you look at many of the houses that have been built, particularly in in communities that are developing, you see those houses are actually being put up with the help of these are children that are abroad.
Okay, Barrister, we're talking about not just a house being available, but affordability. So when you now marry it, how will you now reconcile it with maybe civil servants? Because I know Edo State is 70% civil servants, unlike where I'm coming from. Yes, state. So how will you now reconcile the fact that you are being paid maybe a little amount as salary or wages? How will you now take care of other things then house that is a necessity? Do you think we have enough housing, to accommodate people and civil servants in the state?
The deficits in housing is lamentable, very lamentable, because sometimes you see a family of 6, 7 cramped into a room and a parlor. The children sleep in the parlor in the night, on the coaches and so on. That is the average experience of most Nigerians and our citizens. But let the truth be told. I have actually not seen, government making very serious, very deliberate effort, which is possible. The thing about these things is that these things are possible, but we need the political will, and then we have to prioritize them. Because one of the Jakande estates in Lagos, Jakande realized that housing and transportation were the biggest problems in Lagos, and he went about, solving the problem. Then I must also commend the Shagari government. The Shagari government paid some attention to housing issue. The housing estate we have here now, the federal housing estate at Aduwawa, was built in Shagari's time.
Is it still there? Of
course, it's still there. Federal housing estate. And then what Shagari even did that time was that some federal agencies, they allocated some quota. That's what, if you go there now, ask our NSO quarters. NSO is the present day DSS. So you find that houses were allocated to this civil servant because what's a civil servant salary? And then look at his housing needs, where he has to keep his family, and from there go to work and the children go to school. You find that they actually cannot live, in a decent accommodation. You people, you are media practitioners. You go around during the rainy season, you see some houses submerged by erosion. You say, but why are people living in this place? So this kind of place, they have no option. If they had option, they wouldn't live there. Some of them pack away during the period of heavy rains. They go and shelter somewhere, with family members, friends, and they come back during the dry season. So I think the government should make some serious effort like Jakande made, and then Shagari made. We will come to the problems, when it comes to availability of land to build. But you see, Professor Ali was in UPN. He graciously made it very easy for the federal government to acquire land here at Aduwawa for the housing estates, and even quarried why contractors should be coming from Gongola and the north, and Bender State NPN members were not given, at least some part of the
indigenous,
the indigenous factor. That after all, we are the ones providing the land. And though they are of the other party, indeed he had a meeting with NPN members. He said, why can't you bid for contracts? And they pushed that. You are from this state, it's your land that is being given to the federal government. Why should contractors come from other places? And when they are coming, they will bring their own workers. So it's like we were exporting our jobs. I think that was later given attention to the benefit of NPN members that were from this state. So there should be collaboration, because when it comes to ownership of land, it's a state issue. That's what the Land Use Act says. So there should be collaboration between the states and the federal government when it comes to release of land. You know why I'm saying this? You see, this livestock ranching that the federal government, good enough, is trying to push, some states are resisting giving the federal government land for big cattle ranches that will actually solve, at least to a large extent, the problem of this farmer-herders clash.
But the much I know all the lands belong to the government. So why will states start dragging their feet in giving out their lands for ranching?
Politics. if the federal government now says, no, we want to build 10,000, 5,000 housing units in Edo states, we thank God they are of the same political parties. But sometimes in a state that is governed by a different party, you'll find politics coming in. It's like, that was what Ali refused to do. Some people were not even happy with him within his party. It's like you want to provide opportunity for the federal government to blow their trumpets. Ali said, who is going to be the beneficiary? Benin State indigenous. So let them have the land, let them build the house. They're not going to carry it away to Abuja. So the houses are remaining here, and most of the people living there today, they are indigenous of Edo State.
And we're talking about land use now, Land Use Act.
Yes.
Do you think Edo State, for example, has enough land to build these housing estates? Because from that report, it's talking about 454 housing units across Hunde, Ekpoma. Do you think there's enough land to, because I know most lands now are under the care of a private developers. Yes. Do you think the government has enough land to now begin to establish this housing units?
More than enough land.
Where and where now, like in the state that you're suggesting?
The Land Use Act vests all ownership of land on the states, and the state governor is the overlord. You may be the landlord. The state government has the power to acquire your land, but as the law prescribes, for only public use.
Okay.
Only public use, and in the interest of the public. That means the state government cannot acquire your land and they reallocate it to private people. If it's for a primary school, a health center, hospital, markets, public housing, and then the state government must compensate you.
Okay, yes, talking about compensation.
Yes,
now.
And that is very, very important. What you see, what also makes it difficult now is that you see some state government acquiring before compensation. They will even be developing. They won't compensate the owners. So that's why you see there's resistance.
So what are the requirements? Because I know in some places they will now begin to argue about C of O. You know, what are the requirements as a legal practitioner that you must hold so that when government comes for taking your land, you know, compensation, when they tell you to bring some of those documents, what are the requirements that you have to keep for you to be qualified for compensation? Because most times government will say you don't have the requirements like C of O.
The
certificate of occupancy.
The house that my grandfather built. Can you ask me for certificate of occupancy? And my father inherited, and maybe I inherited. Can you ask me for certificate of occupancy? Was there anything like certificate of occupancy in my grandfather's time? So those are the things. If there's sufficient proof of ownership, you see, the root of title in Edo State, as the law says, you can trace ownership back to about 40 years. If there's sufficient proof.
Where will you get that proof? Is it from?
It must not be documentary, because a lot of the land that a lot of our lands, they are no land papers. Community will come and allot a place to you and your family to build a house. Sometimes the community will even help you to build it. You don't need to pay them. You just cook, and then they will you cook for them. That's how houses were
automatically
built.
Is yours.
It's yours. And if there are people, there's no community in which there's no lead, where you don't have leaders. If they can prove that this house belong to them. You don't need to have papers for them, because some of them they actually came into existence, or the ownership was acquired when there was no such documentation. What you need to do is give sufficient proof that this has been our house, we have been living here, and there has been no contest over it, and that should be sufficient for the government to actually compensate you. When the bypass was being built, and the late Tony and then may God bless his soul, this issue came up. He met with the governor then, Lucky. He said 102 communities are going to benefit from this bypass. Let's talk to our people. Then the issue of the announce of some civil servants were trying to bring it. Is how many of you do your grandfathers have CFO? If there's any proof in the village or community that this house or this land belongs to these people and is trespassed upon, do you know that the government paid for even bitter leaf plants because it was counted as cash crop? That some people survive on bitter leaf.
Yes.
They pluck them, they go to the markets, they sell, from there they buy what they need.
So do you think this issue, these discrepancies, some of the reasons the government are not really forthcoming when it comes to this, getting land or maybe large spaces to build housing
the
units?
Government, if the government has the will, there is no place where land is more contentious than Lagos. If Jakande did it in Lagos, it can be done anywhere. People told to their nanny that they should bring Mopo, they should do that. He said no. For the land that is their own, let's negotiate with them and also let them know what they are going to benefit. The value of their land is going to shoot up. So if maybe they had 10 plots and the road is taking 4 plots or 5 plots, the remaining ones, that when the express road passes there, that the value will what? Improve. And that is exactly what happened. There was interface, there was negotiation, and there was this communal spirit. You see, the government sometimes is not forced. You make people know the benefits. That if there's a housing estate here, what is going to do for you? Roads will be constructed to that place. More people will move into your neighborhood. Your little kiosk will become a supermarket. And then even while they are building, Mama put that comes to sell right there. The economy of the place is gradually improving.
Viable.
Very viable. And these are things that should be explained to people. And the government should stand on its rights. The government is the owner of all. The government can actually occupy land, but it should do so legally.
Okay, before I come to the next question to you, viewer, you can call us if you want to participate in this program. We are discussing house deficits in Edo State, the challenges that are being posed, that people don't have affordable houses. It's not even, most places not even available. So if you want to join us, you want to make your suggestion, you want to have an opinion, you can call us on this number 081 090 42594. 081 090 42594. And when you're making your call, please shift from your TV set so that we can hear you clearly. So, Barrister, I want to talk about this issue of obviously there's a population explosion now, and Benin, maybe when it was planned, the population was not as large as this. So looking at it now, it looks as if it's jam-packed, it's choking. Do you suggest that the government can shift some of these ministries, or even government house and some ministries to other places? Because I know Edo State has a very large land mass. So what's your suggestion on that? Is it a good one?
You know, for the purpose of convenience and proximity and easy communication, you know, a lot of the government's ministries should remain in one place. And you also talk of security. It's easier to provide security if they're in the same area. By the time you scatter them, you have to make provision for security for all of them, and that's going to be expensive. So I think it's cheaper for the government, it's easier, and for the purpose of communication, you can't get somebody on the line, you walk across, and you go and give them the file to treat or sign. Then I also believe that apart from government departments, there are things like schools that can be cited
in those places.
Because if you look at many of these schools, like Edo College, Western Boys High School, Edo Boys High School, the City Grammar School of those days, like now Asolo, they were virtually in the outskirts. They were virtually in the outskirts. But you see, just like what happened with Warri and Efuru, I was born in Warri, and we grew up there.
You were born in Warri?
Yeah, I was born in
Warri. So you are Wafi.
My father was.
You don't behave like good structure. I know Wafi. Oh, really?
My father was a civil servant, and he was working there then. You see, Efuru, as we knew it when we were very young, was a far place. They had
that's where they have a PTI, Petroleum Training Institution.
Yes.
Okay.
But you see now, there's no difference between Efuru and Warri. Warri has expanded this way.
Yes.
Efuru expanded this way, and they met somewhere, and they have actually merged. So I believe some of these institutions, if it's a hospital.
Hello. It's like we have a caller. Hello. Hello? Your father. Okay, go on.
Yes. Uniben, as we know it today, started from Yaro. It was called Midwest Institute of Technology. Then later, they had a campus somewhere at Tekenwa. Then Ugbowo was the main site. It was a very distant place. Ugbowo, at that time, we were in secondary school then. And when we go for some literary occasions there, we say we are back home, because it was very far. But now, Ugbowo is the heart of the town.
Yes.
So let the government make conscious effort. We don't like, if you go to the various communities around Benin, we have land. Land is not one
an
of
issue. Yes, because if you're traveling to it's like we're having a network challenge. So let's just deviate a little bit from the availability and affordability, now look into this issue of landlords and tenants. You know, maybe because the government, or maybe there's not enough affordable and adequate housing.
Yes.
So landlords most times are now, you know, playing hanky-panky with people living in their houses. So what do you have to say concerning that? Of course, you should be here as a legal practitioner, should be hearing cases of landlords, you know, trying to hijack their house rents, and if you fix up things in the house, who is to pay what and who is to fix what? So let's hear from you, sir.
Well, when it comes to house maintenance, there are certain fixtures, there are certain things that have to be.
Hello. Go on, sir.
There are certain things that is that would be the responsibility of the landlord. If there's rainstorm and the roof is blown up, it's not the responsibility of the tenants.
Okay.
It's not the responsibility of the tenants. If there is a fire incident not caused by the tenants, but by some other thing. Maybe like what happens in Akopava. Was it day before yesterday?
Yeah, it was on Monday,
yes,
Easter
on
Monday.
Yes. We saw that a furniture shop was blown up. And along Akopava, I don't want to mention the name of the station, you know, there was going to be a very serious fire incident. You know, I was coming from our monthly bar meeting and I wanted to buy fuel there. Then I heard shouts of run away, fire, fire, fire. Then I saw the whole place smoke. I quickly made
you turned immediately and escaped.
Like Elijah's chariot.
Thank God for that safety.
I ran away from there, but good enough. The station had very good firefighting equipment and they activated them, you know, very quickly, and the fire was put off. And the car that wanted to put the fire, caused the fire, you know, quickly. They were able to evacuate it from the station. So, if such a thing happens and a house is burnt, it's not the responsibility of
the tenants.
But if you are talking of door handles, if you are talking of the bats, your bedroom fixtures, you know, the wear and tear of them are actually caused by the tenants, and then you have to replace them. And then if you are talking of waste evacuation,
I wanted to come to that.
Septic tank. If the waste has to be evacuated, it is human waste generated or caused by the tenants. It is their responsibility. You don't tell your landlord that the soakaway is full and that they should come and evacuate it. It's your responsibility. You generated that waste.
Okay, so Barrister, are you speaking on legal perspective or just your personal opinion?
No,
legal
we are talking of legal perspective.
Okay, so that our viewer can take note of some of the things.
They should take note of these things.
Okay.
Your bedroom fixtures and all that. If the wire, you know,
Hello, excuse me, it's like we have a caller. Hello, I'm having issues, network issues. Can you go on? Sorry, sir.
Yeah, if the security wire in your or on your fence falls, you have to take care of that, because the moment you move in, you also assume some responsibility. That's why it's very important for landlords to always insist on tenancy agreement. Give it to them before they pay. Do you agree to this? And then if there are gray areas that need to be explained, the landlord or his lawyer should explain those gray areas to them. And then let them know when their rent is due that they are to pay. And then let me quickly just touch on one area. Some people feel that when they are giving quick notice, it now means that they are not going to pay till they leave, or for the period, for the duration. Let's say if you are a yearly tenant, is 6 months. If you are a half yearly tenant, is 3 months. If you are a tenant that pays monthly, is 1 month. So that is quite clear. Till you leave, you have to pay.
Okay.
Till you pack away from there. So they say, yes, he has given me quick notice. That means I will not pay. I will not pay. It's like, you know, you have some home lawyers who are more than senior advocates of Nigeria, and they will lecture them. They will tell them. You have some lawyers at the bar, the other bar, that after about 7 bottles, they know more than the learned silk. So they'll start telling them, don't trouble yourself.
Inside their head.
Yes, don't trouble yourself, please. All those are pedestrian views.
Okay, how
that
about
have no legal backing?
Okay, so how about the boreholes? You know, maybe if the sumo has an issue, who is to replace it?
If the borehole was functioning, if the borehole was functioning when it was given to you, if it gets bad, it's the responsibility of the tenants. Because it is either the use or misuse that might have caused it.
Okay.
It's not the landlord's responsibility. The landlord's responsibility is to provide the borehole
and the tank.
And the tank.
What if the tank gets maybe starts leaking, or it falls from up, or something happens to it?
If natural forces like the wind or whatever make the tank
to fall,
the landlord will replace it. But if there is leakage,
leakage,
it is not the responsibility of the landlord. At least the tenant should be able to assume that responsibility. Then if you are using the borehole and there is low current and you go and put you shouldn't use the borehole when there is low current. And then if the landlord put a stabilizer there, make sure that you don't use it without the stabilizer. If anything happens, you have assumed responsibility as a tenant. You take care of it. You don't start calling the landlord. You contribute money as tenants and then you repair the borehole.
Okay. Barrister, don't you think that it's because of this issue of house deficit that is making most landlords to now begin to give incessant quit notices, trying to bring new tenants that when I play, maybe they want to increase their rent. Don't you think it's hard time the landlords begin to, because you see most places now there's no house, the one you get, by the time you live 1 year, the next year the landlord is increasing house rent without even fixing anything or doing any major renovation.
Yes, we are very much aware of that. But let me tell you the major problems that we have. Lawyers and sometimes the landlord. Agents.
Agents, yes.
Many agents want, at the slightest mistake, they want to make sure that you issue quick notice to a tenant. You know why? They want that tenant to go so that a new tenant will come and they will collect,
that their percentage, 20, 30 or 50%.
And then many of them too, they engineer the landlords that, look, houses here, they are like this, they are like that, increase your rents. Because the percentage they will get. This is not fair. And it's making the property market, very disorderly. I think landlords should have lawyers that will advise them. There are some things a landlord will do that is in breach of the law, but the agents will engineer them to do. If a tenant has not paid rent, you don't go there and seal the shop. I manage the house where the caretaker we came and said no. Even when I told the landlord that I don't know what I'm doing, I told the landlord that I am your legal advisor. I will never advise you on breach. Eventually, when the landlord felt that, I left the retainership. I handed over the retainership of the house. One day I was in court and I met that they had just released this man, from he was remanded. Because they went and sealed a woman's shop.
Really?
And the woman took them to court. You don't do that. You take the person who has not paid to court. That is the law. Don't go and remove their door. Don't go and remove their roof. And then don't go and make sure that you padlock all the entrances. It's against the law. And you can be taken up for it.
Okay. So can a tenant that is passing through such a problem, can he or she win that case if you go to court?
Why would she not?
Is
like the caretaker now.
The common man, but the way people seems to be losing confidence in the judiciary.
That is the pain that we lawyers are having. That they are making people lose confidence in the judiciary. Because of that, they don't even want to consult lawyers. And that is very painful. It's a very painful thing. And people are suffering. People are actually suffering. But I feel that we should not give up. We should continue, because the only option, to losing confidence in the judiciary is chaos. Total chaos in the society.
Exactly.
And we should not let it come to that level. But we do hope that some redeeming voice will come, from the judiciary someday. So get a lawyer to properly advise you, and the incessant increment,
yes,
is astronomical increment.
Can you go to court if there's an maybe a tenant landlord increases rent without serious explanation or any renovation? Can you take him or her to court?
When it comes to the issue of renovation, let me tell you where a tenant has to be careful about that. If a landlord says he wants to renovate his house, he can give you quick notice.
Okay. When
it is one of the grounds.
If it's true that he's actually
yes, it's one of the grounds on which a landlord can give you quick notice. That he wants to. He will say, okay, now you say I should renovate. Okay, you leave, so that I can renovate. Is one of the legal grounds on which a landlord can give quick notice if he wants to renovate his house, or he can say that he needs it for personal use or for the use of a family member.
Okay.
So if you are talking of maybe the landlord has not painted the house and all that, leave that area out, because he can say, okay, I want to paint the house. I cannot do that when you are here. Yes. Please, we issue you quick notice. When it's true, he has every right to admit or not to admit you again.
Okay, because of time, I wanted us to also go to the issue of citing. Now in Benin, I noticed that hotels and even nightclubs are cited indiscriminately, close to people's houses. Is it that there's no, what should people do? Is there any law backing all this? Because behind my house now, they are building a club. I don't know how people are going to sleep at night. So is there what government should do to make sure that they check all this citing of
that's the responsibility of the government. And the government should even prevent such things being built. That is the first thing. Instead of allowing them,
from even issuing them
the planning permits
to build.
The planning permits. They should, and then some are doing conversion.
Yes.
It was a residential house. They now turn it to a hotel. The government should do the needful. I think the past administration of Obaseki, to be fair to him, was trying to do that, but some political undertones were being read to it. But the government should not be deterred by that. Do the needful, and then make sure that. But let me say this: if a hotel was existing in a place and you had not built there your residential house, and you buy the plot nearby, you cannot tell the hotel to move.
Yeah, to move.
You go and get another plot somewhere.
So just 1 minute, just round off. What should government do to provide? What do you think that can be done to provide enough housing for people to live and live decently?
The government should get the enabling law that will actually encourage a public-private partnership.
Yes. Okay.
Like cooperative societies. Why would they have housing estates? Cooperative societies. And then why would government, back loans that can give mass housing? Guarantee the payment of the loans and tell the banks, okay, when these houses are occupied, they will be paid to a specified account. And then you have access to part of that money to defray the facility that has been taken. It just takes the political will. Jack and they did it in Lagos. We can do it here It's very possible.
Yes, it takes a political will. It was done in Lagos and some other states, so it can be done here in Edo State. Thank you, Barrister, for coming to our program today. We look forward to of course, you always oblige us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And I will forward my bill.
Of course, NTA is capable of doing that.
Federal bites.
Of course, of course. Thank you, viewer, for joining us this morning on our program, discussing housing deficits. I will believe that you have picked one or two things that can help you to get affordable housing for that you and your family members will be happy to live in. So join us next week when we come your way for another interesting topic. Till then, bye-bye.